learned man cannot be short of words. That's what the Supreme Court opined. Was the Supreme Court right to expect greater restraint from somebody who, enjoys a position of influence like a head of department at Ashoka University nonetheless? How are you looking at the developments from the 8th of May when the post was actually made public on social media, and the 18th of May, the subsequent FIRs, the arrests, and what the Supreme Court opined today?
Kabir, honestly, with the greatest of respect, I think the court is not right in its opinion for the simple reason that if you look at the post that was made by this Ashoka University professor, I could not find a single word that is problematic. I could not find any intention that is problematic.
Right. If
Just
I
to
could
summarize
if I
what
could
is
read some of those excerpts over here, Nikhil. I mean, you see, I went through the entire statement myself, trying to figure out what could have been some of those portions that might have incited, enmity, or could have been provocative. There are some lines. He says. Of course, this is funny, but it also points to just how deep communalism has managed to infect the Indian body politic. For me, the press conference was just a fleeting glimpse, an illusion, and allusion perhaps to an India that defied the logic on which Pakistan was built. As I said, the grassroots reality that common Muslims face is different from what government tried to show. But at the same time, the press conference shows that an India united in its diversity is not completely dead as an idea. Just some of those statements that I personally thought could have raised eyebrows.
Kabir, perhaps if you're looking to raise an eyebrow on something and if you're looking to get offended, of course, this is something because the professor's post does point out to the real fact that in India, on the ground, Muslims are not treated right by a section of the society. And sadly, so that section of the society enjoys the patronage of the ruling party. Is it not the fact that when people, right wing people, came out to defend Asaduddin Owaisi, a sitting member of parliament in the country, the statement was, Jaisa bhi hai, hamara mullah hai. Again, I would agree with the professor that it's funny, but it also shows what is this way of talking about a sitting member of parliament who's trying to protect the valor of our forces or the dignity of our forces and our country? The professor really, he points out the importance of that press conference and the diversity that it showed. And I was among the first people to applaud the government for doing what they did, having a Muslim woman officer, a Hindu woman officer, and Vikram Misri, the foreign secretary, telling the world that we cannot be divided on grounds of religion like the terrorists tried to divide us. And that is exactly what the professor says. But that is not to take away from the fact that there are a lot of people who discriminate against Muslims. Do we not see protests by certain people against a Muslim buying a flat in a Ghaziabad residential society? Is this the society that our founding fathers and mothers envisioned? It's not. This is not the idea of India we started out with. This is distinctly different from the idea on which Pakistan was built, the two-nation theory, which said that Hindus and Muslims can't live together as a single country. And that is exactly what the professor is saying. While I appreciate the Supreme Court granting him bail, what I don't understand is why did the court and its merit did not find it right to quash such a pointless FIR? Because even assuming that the statement is not correct, first of all, I agree with the statement, but even assuming for a moment that the statement is not correct, is the Indian state so weak that a professor's Facebook or Twitter post is going to break it apart? It's going to lead to secession and all of that. We are not. We are a very strong country. Just mere words without any violence happening, without any arms being taken up,
Okay.
coming from a person who's a professor in a respected university. I really don't understand how does it make for sedition of all laws. By the way, just to remind your viewers, a couple of years ago, the Solicitor General Tushar Mehta in court had said that the government is mulling on removing the provision of sedition because, as we all know, sedition is a remnant of a colonial past. The
Yep.
Britishers included it because they wanted to control their subjects. Now we are a republic of citizens. There is no place in a modern republic for provisions like sedition. Words cannot break up the Indian state. Let's be real. We are a very strong country.
All right. Many thanks for those opening remarks. Let's quickly bring in Advocate Sankla here. Advocate, how are you looking at these developments? Was it really insidious undermining of women in uniform, or is there more than what meets the eye? I was going through social media as well. People are bringing about the legacy and the lineage of the professor as well, saying that he was an erstwhile Samajwadi Party national spokesperson. His grandfather was a foreign secretary under Jawaharlal Nehru. Mama is a think tank at a big firm as well. How does one look at these developments?
Well, let me put it like this, that your fundamental rights under Article 19(1)(a) protect your right to speech. Now, this speech would include anything that you write, design, art, whatever, but there are certain reasonable restrictions, and those are equally important. The restrictions can be put by the state, perhaps for the security of the state, for public order, etc., etc. Now, this is exactly what has happened in this case as well. The Honorable Supreme Court has repeatedly held that free speech cannot be suppressed on flimsy or fanciful ground, but it has also stated, and I'm paraphrasing, to the effect that your right stops where my nose begins. Now, if something is said that affects people at large, or has perhaps may, the government can come in. 196 is clear, promoting enmity between different groups on grounds of religion, race, place of birth, etc., etc. And I do not really agree. I know Mr. Nikhil personally is a fine gentleman, but I do not agree with him when he says that there are problems when somebody of a particular faith or community wants to take a property or buy a property in a particular place and suffers from difficulties. Now, perhaps take it like this, that I am a vegetarian, I have 20 or 24 other friends, we buy a plot of land and make a colony of vegetarians, and a non-vegetarian wants to come in. Can I stop him, or should I have the right to stop him? According to my friend here, no. But according to me, yes, because it is also my right to live in a particular manner and fashion. So as far as your fundamental rights are concerned, as far as your right to speech or right to life is concerned, there are certain restrictions.